Let us see how to find out the formula for a middle term in the binomial expansion. Now, if you observe, the title is term or terms, so it gives us a hint that there is a possibility that there is just one term or more than one term in the binomial expansion. Now, how come that is possible? That is because, suppose let's consider that n is an even number. So we are talking about the binomial expansion a plus b raised to n, and if n is an even number, then we have seen already that it will contain n plus 1, which is an odd number of terms in the binomial expansion. So if n is even, then we have odd number of terms in binomial expansion. Now, if we have odd number of terms, then it means that there is one single term which is a middle term, or the term which appears in the center. Now, on the other hand, if we now consider n to be odd, then the number of terms is still n plus 1, but which now becomes an even number. So we have even number of terms in the binomial expansion, which in turn means that there is no single term which comes in the center, but there are two terms which we may call as the middle terms. And that's what we want to find, that is, which will be the middle terms. So for that, let's take one example so that we can generalize. That is, say n equal to 2. We are taking the example of n equal to 2, which is an even number. Here it means that we are talking about a plus b the whole square, which we know that it is a square plus 2ab plus b square. So the second term is nothing but the central term here, and we know that T2 means r equal to 1 in the formula of general term. So if we write n and the term count or the value of r for the middle term, when n is 2, we have r equal to 1. We can generalize and easily find out that when n is 4, we will have 5 terms. So that means we must have third term in the middle. So that means r must be equal to 2 to find the middle term, and so on. So therefore, finally, we must have r equal to n by 2 for finding out the middle term when n is an even number. Now let's generalize about what happens when n is an odd number. So let's say we are talking about n equal to 3. So that means it is nothing but a plus b whole cube, and we know that it is equal to a cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square plus lastly b cube. So that means there are two terms which are in the center, which is nothing but T2 and T3. So it means that when n is equal to 3, we have term number 2 and 3, and for 2 and 3 we will have the corresponding values of r as 1 and 2. So that is nothing but r is either 1 or 2. Now when we have n equal to 5, which is again an odd number, so it will have 5 plus 1, that is 6 terms in the expansion. So in that case, we know that for the 6 terms, it will be the third and fourth term which come in the center. So for third and fourth term, the corresponding values of r are 2 and 3. So that is when n is 5, we want r as 2 and 3. So therefore, again here generalizing, we can see that r has to be equal to either n minus 1 whole upon 2 or n plus 1 whole upon 2. So for either of these two values, we will get the corresponding terms as the terms which come in the center. And we already know the formula of finding out any general term in terms of tr plus 1. So using that formula we can find out the required middle terms.